There's a mirror in the woods that reflects the dead. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here to tell you a scary story today. This is an episode of Local 58 TV. We like to travel all around our area, which we call the woods behind my house. We go to different places where locals hang out, or where people have gone missing or died. And then I tell horror stories about those places for your entertainment. I hope you enjoy this one, because it is one of my favorites. We are at a place that has been significant in my life for years. It is just outside of town, in the woods behind my house. And for decades, we've had many deaths here. A lot of people say they can hear screams in the night coming from these woods. Some say they see ghosts walking through them. I never believed those stories until I experienced something myself. In the early 90s, my buddy and I used to come into this area and party. We'd get high and walk around in the woods and look for adventure. One time we were doing just that, when we saw a dirt road that went off into the trees. The road was barely visible, but we could see enough of it to make out 2 sets of tire tracks. We didn't know where the road led, but we followed it anyway. As we walked down this road, we came across a clearing with a single mirror propped up against a tree. My friend and I stopped to check it out. But as soon as we got close to it, the forest around us seemed to get darker, even though it was the middle of the day. We couldn't see anything in the mirror, but we could feel eyes watching us from everywhere. My buddy and I turned to run, but after only a few steps, we heard footsteps behind us. Heavy, slow footsteps like someone in work boots was following us. We started to run faster, but the footsteps kept pace with us. We reached the road again and ran to our car, not stopping until we were far away from that clearing and that mirror. To this day, I don't know what was in that mirror or who was watching us. But I do know that there are things in these woods that I would rather not meet. Well, folks, this is where I grew up. Spent most of my childhood here. And this is where my parents met. They actually had their first date here. So this is very nostalgic for me. I have told you before that this is where my parents met. They were on their first date, and they went to the drive-in. Well, there is no longer a drive-in here. This used to be the site of the Starlight Drive-In. This drive-in closed in the early 70s, and since then, this place has become overgrown and haunted. Now, over the years, there have been several deaths at this abandoned drive-in. One of the most recent ones happened back in 2004, when a local man named Ricky Lynn Burton broke into the old concession stand and stole some food. He must have gotten spooked by something because he ran out of the stand and tripped over some rocks, hit his head so hard that he died instantly. And now his ghost is said to haunt this place along with other spirits that have died on the grounds. Well, if you want to experience these ghosts for yourself, you're going to have to search pretty hard. Now, there was a restaurant in town that used to show old home movies on their television sets. Well, one day, a local man named John Rogan came into the restaurant and asked if he could watch the film. It was a black and white movie from the 40s, but John immediately recognized himself and his family in the film. They had come to the Starlight Drive-In for a family outing, but during the movie, a fight broke out in the next car over, and someone pulled out a gun and shot John's father in front of the entire family. John said that every time he sees the film, it brings back terrible memories. But he's not the only one. Locals say that sometimes you can hear gunshots ringing out in the night from this very spot. Maybe it's just some kids trying to scare people, but maybe it's the angry spirit of a man whose life was cut short. All right, folks, I'm standing here looking out over the woods behind my house. I've been telling scary stories about this place for a while now, and honestly, I've never been scared telling these stories until tonight. It's dark out now, and just moments ago, while I was walking through the woods, I heard some strange noises. It sounded like whispers coming from just beyond my sight. I'm telling you, there is nobody else out here. No one was around me, yet I could have sworn I heard voices calling my name. Whatever it was, I don't want to stick around to find out. Let's get out of here. Well, folks, we made it out of the woods, all right. But that was probably the scariest thing I've ever experienced while filming one of these videos. Those whispers I heard, they definitely weren't coming from another hiker. There's no one else out here at this hour. If you've watched my videos before, you know that we like to hike during the night. We always have, and tonight was no exception. But something else I want to point out is that there are no bears or mountain lions in these woods. If you live in the city, then you probably think that all the woods are full of wild animals that will eat you alive. But we are miles from any kind of wilderness. We are surrounded by farmland, and the closest wild animals we have are probably squirrels. So let me ask you this. If there are no bears, mountain lions, or hikers in these woods, where were those voices coming from? I don't have an answer for you, but what I do know is that those voices were coming from inside the woods, and that scares me. I told you in the beginning of this video that I never believed the stories about this place until I experienced something myself. Well, tonight I experienced something, and believe me, I don't want to talk about it too much. I don't want to draw any more attention to it than I already have. But I will say this: whatever you do, don't go hiking in the woods behind my house. Don't go hiking anywhere in the dark, because I'm telling you, there are things out there that you do not want to meet. Well, folks, I think it's time to wrap up another episode of Locals on 58 TV. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please remember to mash that like button and subscribe. It helps us out tremendously. If you want to follow us on social media, I promise you'll get more updates than you can shake a stick at. If you want to know how you can be in one of our videos, check out the links below. We're always looking for new faces. Until next time, stay safe, stay awesome. And remember, I told you so.